everybody, this is Eric Warrior and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. I am here with Kenton Worthington, my dear friend, who we met for the first time about, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's been about 3 years.
3 years ago, and we kind of followed each other and hung out, and he was here this last weekend for the Starkey Hearing Foundation Gala, came in, was an amazing, good sport, and did some amazing things. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But Kenton is a gentleman that is 34 years old. I hope it's okay I say.
Absolutely. Still single.
Still single, 34 years old. And you've been involved in our profession of network marketing for how long?
I got started in my first opportunity in 1998.
1998. Same year I did.
Did you really?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So how long has it been since we've been in? Do the math
Well, for
quickly.
me,
13, 14 years?
Yeah. I'm sorry. 88 was mine.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no...
88 was mine. I'm just leaving out decades here and there. But you're currently involved with New Skin.
That's right.
You're one of the top, what?
Definitely in the top 50 money earners in the company.
Top 50 money earners in the company. And approximately how much did you earn last year?
Just over $1.5 million.
Over $1.5 million. Okay, 34 years old, $1.5 million. And as you know, the interviews we like to bring on here are the people who've earned $1 million or better, and we try and find out what they're doing that's made them successful. But before we get into the success principles, tell me what led you into network marketing, and maybe what were some of the early lessons that you learned, some of those breakthroughs that you might have happened in the early years.
Sure, great. Well, first of all, it was a friend, just like most of us, a really good friend who'd called me and introduced it to me. I believe at that time my hot button was two things. Number one, he mentioned a free car, which, you know, growing up in a family with 6 kids, mom and dad were both educators, that sounded really good to me. I was single then too, hoping that it would help me get dates. And really the thing that grabbed my attention, Eric, was he said that he was being mentored, he was spending time with a millionaire. And frankly, I remember thinking about it. I didn't know what they looked like, what they did. I wasn't connected to anybody like that. And that really was what got me involved to the level where I opened up my mind to go and listen. I didn't have any idea what network marketing was. I thought it sounded like a disease.
Right.
You know, people were like, what? No. They told me, hey, this guy, Chris, is doing Amway or something. Don't answer his phone calls. That's what I heard. So I was ignorant. I didn't listen. Finally, I took the time and I allowed him to chat with me. I was so grateful for that because, as we know today, my career, my lifetime my whole life's been impacted from that decision to listen, just to open my mind to listen.
Right, right. And did you have immediate success?
Well, you know, success is defined differently by everyone. For me, early on, and I hope I'll be very brief of this story. I was traveling back to Eastern Europe, where I'd lived for a couple of years on a service mission. I'd saved all of my money so that I could go on that trip. We met literally days before I was leaving, and it was my birthday, I remember. It was close to my birthday, and I told this guy, I said, look, I don't have the money to join. I've saved up all this money. He said, look, all you got to do, if you'll just go out and talk to 8 people that'll join the company, you'll make enough money to pay for your entire trip. So I did. I invited my upline sponsor, you know, I didn't even know who he was, to my birthday party. I'd forgotten to tell the family. So mom calls and says, hey, some guys with the whiteboard at the house. Needless to say, they weren't happy, but they all signed up.
Nice.
So you could say that was immediate success. I came home from a month away. This is what changed my life. The first time in my life that I'd been gone, I didn't put in any time and effort for 30 days. I did introduce a few key people to the business, and I got a check. And I've never been the same since. I understood that there was something, I didn't understand that it was leverage, but I understood that that thing would free my life, would make me free.
Yeah.
That's what changed.
Well, let's and sometimes it's just that little victory, that one little achievement, just something.
Yeah.
You know, somebody signed up, they get a check, something happens, you know, there's a breakthrough. You know, somebody that they thought was going to say no says yes, and all of a sudden they go, the limits come off.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward. You know, now, and we'll back up and get into some of the principles, but you're making over $1 million a year now. Have this amazing lifestyle, you know, live in your dream house and drive your dream cars and you know, part owner of a jet that flies around the country and around the world. What makes you so special? A lot of people that are watching this, they work hard. They want this. You know, they really want to make it happen. What are you? And most of them are convinced that you have some secret that they haven't been told. So tell them. Let's release the secret finally. What is the difference between you, $1 million plus, and somebody who's making not that kind of money? What's the difference?
The hairdo.
Stop.
I had to say that. I had to say it. I just absolutely had to say it. You know, so many people said. I thought, man, with my personality, I'm a little bit cutting. I'm always on the edge. I always do something wrong. You know, I was a guy. If the stop sign's there, I'd drive right through it. So, if there was something that's a secret, it's that the information's already there. I mean, that was.
But that didn't make you different.
Yeah, no, I don't know
What
that it
makes
makes
you
me different.
Why are you different than somebody that's making $10,000 a year?
I have a different vehicle.
Well, it's not the company, because people inside your company are making $10,000 a year. So what's the difference between you at $1 million plus and somebody who's making $10,000?
Well, I mean, the way my dad put it to me early on, this is a principle, is that you cannot rob the law. And that means that for every blessing or everything that you want in your life, there is a set of rules or sacrifices or a price that has to be paid for that blessing or benefit. And that means that the reason I'm where I'm at is because I've paid that price. The reason I have the physical ability that I have is because I paid the price along the way. The reason I'm where I'm at in my life financially is because there was a set of rules and laws. I don't know if that's how I think about it, that I was able to be obedient to, learn what they were, and I paid the price along the way so that I could benefit from
So
that.
what are those laws?
Oh, there's so many. Law of sacrifice, for one.
The law of sacrifice. So in other words, you have to put in the work.
Absolutely. You can't, like my dad said, you don't get anywhere without work. But I understood early on, my dad was a workaholic, really workaholic, but on the other side of the equal sign for wealth, you know, there was a bunch of other things in between. Not just work equaled wealth. So work was there, for sure.
Yeah.
Sacrifice was there. The ability to learn and develop myself as a human being, surrounding myself with good people. You know, Jim Rohn put it this way, you become the average of your 5 closest friends. My dad said this, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Mm-hmm. All of these things along the way. Looking back over 14 years nearly, it's hard for me to just give you one thing. There isn't one thing. Right. There's so many moments that changed my life, but all of those things that I just mentioned really come into play when I realized the difference of where I am today and the people that I surrounded myself with 15, 20 years ago that I grew up with.
Let me tell you some of the things that I've heard from some of the great leaders. Hard work.
Absolutely.
You put yourself to it. A rock-solid belief. And that's a big differentiator between the big earners and the lesser earners.
Well, if I could hear certainty.
Certainty.
Level of certainty. Tony Robbins puts it this way. He said, if your level of certainty is just higher than the people that you're around, you will influence them. And so I teach somebody that they're brand new, they've just heard about our opportunity. Mm-hmm. I let them know they already have this much more certainty about their future than the people that are surrounding them. They don't need to be an expert about our business or everything, you know, because you don't just get that overnight. Right. But their level of certainty is that much more, and they will influence. So that's very interesting. I've had that in my life as well.
Yeah. If your belief is at a certain level, you start to attract. If your belief is below that level, it's work to attract anything. If it's at that level, it's actually natural.
Yeah, it just happens.
Because people are looking for somebody who believes strongly enough in what they're doing.
Well, that's how we know each other.
Yeah, exactly. The third one was consistency.
Absolutely.
Because there's people who work hard for a minute, they work hard for a week, they work hard for 90 days, they even work hard for a year, and they think that that's going to be the ticket to long-term success. How long did you have to work before you really had a significant breakthrough in income?
About 5 years.
Yeah. When was it? What did you earn in that 5th year, approximately?
Well, my income increased over 1,000% from the 5th to the 6th year.
Okay, so what did that go from what to what?
Well, it went from about $6,000 a year to
600.
Yeah, unfortunately, that company went out of business. I never got
Understand.
paid. But if the income would have come to me, that's why I'm hesitant. Well, but if a country I did $100 million in revenue, and then the checks never came through. But
Yeah.
it would have been well over $1 million in income.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
That was my
So you had your
first.
breakthrough in about the 6th year.
Yeah, in about the 6th year.
Okay, and
So-
unfortunately something happened with the company.
Yeah.
And you ended up finding a home and everything's fine. But
Yeah.
but what I tell people is it takes about 1 year to become competent and profitable in your business. You'll cover your expenses, you'll cover the cost of product, cost of going to events, you'll learn the business. It'll take you about 3 years to replace whatever income you're earning now. On a part-time basis, very focused. It'll take you 5 years to become, a high income earner, $250 a year plus. These are average numbers. It'll take
Sure.
about 7 years to become world class. That's kind of and world class means you can make as much as you can imagine and as much as you're willing to work towards.
That's
Right?
right.
And I haven't seen anybody really able to rob that over the long term. That's about what it is.
Right.
You experience the same
Oh,
thing?
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
For some people, I know great stories that inspire me today. It's taken them much longer than that.
Right.
I just knew inside of me there was a price that had to be paid. The ticket, the price ticket, I couldn't see what it was, but when I committed, I was willing to pay whatever price. And once that happened, I think if I could say there was a breakthrough, it was when I knew that I would never stop doing what it took because I already knew that the fruit was real.
Right.
As long as I continued on that path, my mentor, consistency is the key, all of those things. That is the breakthrough that I think was so significant for me. I will never quit.
Right.
And it was really because my friends were making fun of me, and I was like, dang it, when I see them, they're not going to say, so you're doing that thing again? And yeah,
Right.
I am.
Right.
And
I'm doing great, right?
oh, it's unbelievable. I used to think I'd drive my car over their lawn and be like, did you see what I'm driving?
Right.
Now I'm almost embarrassed because I don't want them to feel badly.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive over anybody's lawn. I want to find out how they're doing, and I love them, and I'm pleased
It's
for them.
amazing how that transition
Yeah.
happens. You don't have to get back at them for all the no's.
I know you feel like you want to, but it'll
Yeah.
go away when you make a lot of
Yeah.
money and friends and love
So,
it.
question for you on the people out there that struggle with the persona of being a network marketer. If they're putting on that jacket, they struggle with it because people have misperceptions. They have ignorance about it. You've dealt with it for 14 years. I've dealt with it for 22 years. Some of those things. There's a lot of people who come in, think they joined a business, they just bought a lottery ticket, doesn't work, and then they blame the network marketing company. How do you handle that? Because I know your belief is at an all-time stellar, off the chart, and you're an expert at opening up new countries. So you go into countries, they know nothing about what it is that you're doing, and you take brand new people, never done anything in the network marketing profession before, and you transfer your belief to them.
Absolutely.
How would you help to transfer belief to the people who are watching this program? What would you say to them? If you were sitting down with somebody and pretend somebody is looking at that camera and saying, Kenton, I'm just not sure if network marketing is for me. I just don't know if I have the belief necessary to be able to get there. What would you? And they were a good friend. What would you share with them?
Well, you may not love this answer. First of all, I don't believe that this is for everybody. My key and my passion today is to help people find out what they're passionate about. So then I kind of release a little bit of the pressure. And then we talk about what this really is. And this is about helping people, about changing the world, about giving back, about being able to have a wagon that's so full that you can actually give. There's nothing for me to give before. So for me, I spend most of my time now in my career and life trying to understand what's in people's hearts and connect with them. And then I look at them and I let them know that if they're willing to pay the price, that I will match their efforts and that they can be successful. I know that. See, the kiss of death in our business is to not believe someone else could do it, to somehow believe that I had a better deal or there's something about me that they could not do. I don't believe that.
Right.
I know in my heart that you could do it. I know you can because I've seen, we say this all the time, if I could do it, you could do it. If people really knew and maybe could see where I came from or where you came from or where we started. In fact, I saw your video from 20 years ago. It's unfathomable because here's a guy that I've looked up to my entire career. I've known about him, I've watched him, and he's a professional. And to see that he started in similar circumstances to me, a little bit unsure, a little bit different looking. Yeah, a little shaky. You know, and you can make it. I wish I could transfer some of what's here, the experiences that brought me to this point, and give them to you. I can't. What I can do is say, please come down the path, open up the door, continue down the corridor, and you'll find that the person that you become is really the gift. It's not the income, but it's really the outcome that I think both of us are so grateful for. I know I am.
Yeah, sure. The journey we talked about is everything. I mean,
Yeah.
and this is the vehicle, and you have a chance to hang out with good people, and you get a chance to learn and to grow.
Yeah.
And yesterday we sat out on my back deck with Kenton and Kevin Hall, author of Aspire. I've told you about that book, and he's actually sitting here in the room as we're doing this interview. And a number of really great friends. We had this great conversation for, 8 hours, 10 hours. We're just sitting around talking about life and breakthroughs and, and on a Monday when everybody else was at work, they were all in their cubicles doing their thing. We have a chance to kind of invest in each other and mastermind together, which is so fun to do. As you're going, I'm a huge fan of defining moments. These moments where you hit a crossroad and bang, you have to go right or left, something happens, something triggers, and everything changes, and it alters the course of your life. And I'm sure you've had dozens of them over the course of your life, and the thing about defining moments is you don't know that they're a defining moment until afterwards. Afterwards you look back and say, well, that changed everything. That little defining moment changed everything. And when I talked to Nathan, and I know you work with Nathan, one of his defining moments, he went to a friend and he squirted the bottle and tripped through the thing, and he got mad and he said, you know what? No, you're wrong. I'm not going to let you rob me of my dream. And that was a defining moment for him. I know as I'm describing this, there's probably one that triggered into your brain.
Yeah.
What is that defining moment? Share that with everybody, if you will.
Well, there's actually multiple that went through my brain. You asked me this yesterday, and thank you again for the gift of being able to spend time with you.
That was fun.
Unbelievable, you guys. Anyway, we'll talk about that more, I'm sure, another time. Huge blessing in my life to be able to be around people like Eric.
Nice.
And I hope that you'll come on the journey with us. You never know, we'll meet you someday and be masterminding with you. For me, Eric, I think, I know this, there have been multiple, and I could talk about them. But the one that really changed everything for me in my career with this industry was the day that I realized it was not really about me. I'm big on personal responsibility, network. It didn't work for me. Of course, you didn't work for it. All of those things, okay? But what I realized is that when it was more about the person that put their trust and integrity and their good name into my care, everything changed. I'll tell you a fast story.
Yeah,
I have a friend.
What created that? Yeah.
I called somebody from Eastern Europe. I had served a mission there, church service mission. I lived there for 2 years. This guy had made, he was an entrepreneur, but in his best year, he was able to make a couple $1,000. Wow. Getting his family out of the country. I called him and I told him that I'd found what we'd looked for our entire lives that we could do together. You don't just open up a business with a high barrier of entry and huge risk and bank loans and everything in the rest of the world. And the greatest country in the world is still hard here for entrepreneurial ventures. He trusted me, sells everything. His wife, who's pregnant, 2 kids, they moved to New Zealand, and he comes to the U.S. because the family couldn't get visas. And he was here for 6 months, and he was going to everything. I knew what to put him through to help him have the experiences to learn, meeting the right people, being around the right things. And he just was not having any success. And I remember I was in Orange, California, and I got an email from him And he was not complaining in any way. He just reminded me that I'd made a commitment to him, that he trusted me with his life and his family. And he said, I haven't made any money here, we're not having success. And I just think maybe I need to go home and find something else to do. And anyway, my life changed at that moment. Something changed inside me that'll never be the same again. He's today my highest paid distributor in the world. And we went back to Hungary, and Hungary became the #1 producing market for our company in short order, which is a small country, and in all of big Europe. And his life's never been the same again.
Mm.
That moment changed everything when I really realized that if I forget myself and serve other people, that was the secret for me.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well,
that was a defining moment.
Yeah, I guess. What a lesson, because so many people, they treat that new prospect, that new distributor, like a prize. Like they went out hunting and they got one. Boom, I got one. They hold it up as a trophy. They bring it to the meetings and they hold it up and they look what I got. I got this thing. And then they yell at it, and then they tell it to go to work, and they tell it to come on, get off your butt.
Why are you doing this?
Where's your belief?
Oh yeah.
But when the transition happened, I've seen it with all the greats. When the transition happens, when you really invest in another human being, you look them in the eye, and you say, you know what? We're going to make this thing go. We're going to make this thing work. That changes everything. It opens up all the doors. It transfers the belief. It lets them know that there's somebody out there in the world that actually gives a damn about them. Somebody has their back, when maybe their family doesn't.
Yeah.
When somebody out there is their friend, to be able to help get through the stuff. What was his breakthrough?
His personal?
Yeah, he went from not having success to being your #1 guy.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, he was always working, was doing the right things. That's sometimes frustrating for us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing everything you told me, right?
And it's not
No, it wasn't. He wasn't tuned in, right? We know that. To me,
it's not just about the actions. It's
right.
how you do the actions. It's not about we could hire robots to do this stuff, but there needs to come some spirit and passion and heart and soul into what you're doing, and then the results all of a sudden change.
So true. I'm not really big on teaching technique.
Yeah.
Because I already know that if you invited your best 5 friends to go to the movies with you, they're coming. Right. And if they don't show up, you're not devastated.
Right.
You don't cry about it. So once it gets tuned in, and I like to use that because the wavelength, once it gets tuned in and people start communicating, everything changes. So the invitation is different. The way you write your goals are different. The way that you present the business is different. The way you follow up. That was for him. I think maybe that moment was defining for both of us. He felt the desperation. I'm sure there's a lot of pain there. He also felt a lot of support from the team that he was with. And we made a decision. It was really that defining moment concerning all acts of... Anyway.
All acts of what?
Initiative and creation. I'm feeling really emotional. I haven't felt
good,
this
it's
emotion
good,
for
it's
so
good.
long. I've had just an unbelievable weekend with Eric.
Yeah.
We're impacting the world.
It's a spiritual time. I'm telling you. We're actually here at the Starkey offices at the moment. So we're looking through all this stuff and we just had this amazing experience. But anyway, so what he went through, and when I tell you what this guy stepped up and was able to do because of the gift of network marketing, you're going to be amazed. But so anyway, spirit and initiative.
Anyway, so concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is but one elementary truth, and that is that the very moment that one definitely commits oneself, then and only then, all sorts of things begin to occur, which otherwise would have never occurred, and which no man or woman would have ever dreamt possible.
Say that again.
Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is but one elementary truth, and that is that the very moment that one definitely commits oneself, then and only then all sorts of things begin to occur which otherwise would have never occurred, in which no man or woman would have ever dreamt possible.
So let me ask you this. Are you saying it's possible for the people watching right now to have that moment and their business will change just like that?
Yes, I am saying that.
So if they truly and totally, and rewind this program and listen to what he said again, if they truly decide, then the decision is enough.
Yeah, it is.
Then everything else will
Everything else falls in. It's almost like hitting that domino piece. Because, you know, when you decide, then you're active and you're reading and you're working harder on yourself and you're serving other people. You're going to the meetings, you're using the tools, and you're doing all of these things that we look at as, hey, this is the technique. I mean, we actually work for a living. There's a real workflow.
Right.
But all of those things just fall into line. That's what happened for Cotaway. Started making different phone calls. We stopped. The company was telling us, no, we're not going to Hungary. And all of a sudden they're saying, wow, we better go to Hungary, because we'd made a decision. They came in after us.
Yeah.
This is one of the first times that had happened, you know, in a decade in our company. That was an older company. And within 12 months, we were the #1 producing market. Just unheard of. It was like a miracle. People were like, what's happened? Man, Hungary's got to be some secret place. No. It was here in my heart, my mind, and my leaders and our team. I didn't do it myself, but it's like Joan of Arc, you know? And she said, I'm not going over the wall. I'm not going to look behind me to see who's following me. I'm going. You don't understand. The minute you do that, somebody said that people are just waiting for a leader to stand up. You know, they just are waiting for someone to have the courage to be themselves and to make a decision and take a risk and be who they are and move forward for their dreams. I didn't realize I could be that person that could make that decision. I was waiting for someone else.
And then now your life becomes about helping other people, if they choose to.
Yes.
Make the decision for themselves.
Right. Because we can't. We want to. How many times have we done it?
Help them to guide them to it. Right?
Yeah. So many times I've wanted it more for them than I knew they wanted it for themselves. And I learned from Nathan, you have to be careful about whom you spend your time with. Yeah. Those are the hard days when I know they're just not willing to do it for themselves. And we have to be led to the people that are ready, and we'll work with them. That's kind of how I'm at, where I'm at now in my career.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in a short period of time, and you know, if you were to try and identify what was the differentiating thing from Kenton to anybody else, is the passion that he has, and the love, and the caring, the connection. He's somebody that you'd want to have as a sponsor. You know what I mean? That kind of person. And everybody's goal should be, would I want to have me as a sponsor? And if I wouldn't, then I've got to, what can I do to make that decision and decide that today is never going to, I'm never going to be the same after today. I'm going to make that in a blink of an eye, and it's done. Now it's just a matter of time until you're going to get there. All right, I want to talk about some of the charity work that we did this weekend. But first I want to say, some people would say that you can't be as fashionable as you are and succeed in network marketing. You can't have that haircut. You have to be buttoned down. You can't have $2,000 sunglasses. You can't have all of this stuff. What do you say to that crowd that says that? And your upline has had to say that to you. I know that they have.
Interestingly enough, Eric, it's so funny. I was at an event and I had a leader. I was getting ready to go up on stage, and I've spent the great majority of my life trying to, in Hungarian, megfelel, which means for me to try and be enough for someone else instead of just being enough for myself. This gentleman grabs me. He's in a Hawaiian shirt. I have no idea who he is. He's like, come here, I need to talk to you for a second. I'm thinking I'm like, look, I'm going up on stage. Turns out he's like one of our top leaders. He hasn't worked for 20 years. He looks right at me. He knows that Nathan sponsored me. Nathan Ricks is my sponsor, one of the best in the world. I'm trying to be good enough for him. He took a risk on me, and I'm this unproven crazy guy. And he looks right at me and he said, once you stop needing other people to think, or you needing other people's approval, and just finally be yourself, everything will change for you. And so guess what? I was. I'm like, man, I'm a little bit crazy. I have crazy hair. I wear crazy sunglasses. I get my clothes made all over the world, and sometimes I dance, and I'm the first guy on the table to shake around and get the crowd going. And I used to be worried about what somebody else would think. And now I'm not. Are you kidding me? The minute I got there, all of a sudden I'm racing to the top, 20 distributors in the company.
Yeah.
People are talking about me. Tony, sorry, I keep talking about Tony Robbins, another great mentor, at least from afar. He said, when someone has the courage to be themselves, you allow other people to be themselves. You allow it to be okay for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a little bit crazy. I dress funny, and you can be successful here. I can be serious when I need to be.
Right.
When it's time for me to be a professional, I'm a professional.
Right.
And I show up as a professional. I get the job done. But the rest of the time, dude, I'm just me.
Well, it's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Now, we this last weekend we went to the Starkey Hearing Foundation, which I've been telling you all about. And I brought a group of 23 people. Kenton was one of those people in total to this event. And the event had 1,300 people or something like that.
Yeah,
so we had a few tables out of 100 tables, maybe 200 tables in the room, so maybe 1% of the room. And the event was unbelievable. It was just off the chart. Amazing what this organization is doing for other people. And instead of auctioning off stuff, they auctioned off these mission trips all around the world. And Kenton was nice enough. Marina and I are doing a mission trip in the Ukraine and in Colombia. And Kenton was nice enough to also contribute.
I would say Eric was nice enough to allow me to be part of that and to be able to contribute to those countries as well.
We committed $50,000 to each of those countries, and Kenton also said, okay, I'll commit to $50,000 to each of those 2 countries, and we're going to work together on doing a great mission trip in those countries. But then something cool happened. We had this amazing night and all these greats, and then President Clinton came to the event, and he spoke for 20 minutes. One of the most amazing talks. Unbelievable. I've got it on tape, and I'm going to show it to all of you. It's amazing talk. And then afterwards, he finishes. Everybody goes crazy. And then they say, we're going to auction off a day with President Clinton, where you can spend an entire day with President Clinton, go around with him, experience whatever's going on with him, and who would like to bid on that? And guess what? He steps up and says, okay, I'll give $150,000 to the Starkey Hearing Foundation in order to be part of that day. And he wins the bid. So he is going on a day with Mr. President Clinton. Wow, what a day that's going to be, and I can't wait to get a report what's going to come back from that. But tell everybody just real quickly what the value of contribution is, and maybe just a very quick little thing on what Starkey can do, because I want more people to get involved in this next year on what we're going to do with helping people with hearing around the world.
I'd love to. First of all, let me thank you, Eric. And I want everyone to know I've watched Eric from afar, and most of us, and maybe you're like me, I've been skeptical of people at times. And I've been skeptical of foundations because I wanted to give back, but I always wondered where the money went. I've had an opportunity now to spend time with Eric and Marina and his family. They have real heart. This is the real deal. We're here at Starkey Foundation, the Hearing Foundation. If you're not currently involved in something, or even if you are, you have to hear and find out about this. This is one of the most impressive foundations that I've ever been involved with or even had the pleasure of knowing about. And if it wasn't for a decision that Eric made, I would not be here. And my life, again, was at a crossroads. And because of that moment in time, I was sitting there listening, taking in everything that I saw, watching the 2 probably smallest in terms of net worth tables in the room. I was so humbled and honored to be associated with a group of people that gave so much. I hope I can say it was over $700,000.
Yeah, we did $800,000. Our 2 tables donated $800,000 in total towards the Starkey Hearing Foundation. And with Starkey doing the 5 times match, that means $4 million in total was raised. That means 16,000 children around the world in 6 countries are going to get the gift of hearing just because of this small group, which was like 12% of the total donations out of the room, and we were 1%. of the people in the room, and everybody else who's donating were all the billionaires in the room. So
Oh
it was
my
pretty
gosh.
cool. It was
Yeah,
fun.
corporations, billionaires. This isn't an advertisement to
Yeah.
edify or to highlight us. And I just want you to know this shows you the power and ability that your single decision can have.
Yep.
And I do want to again recognize Eric's decision. We want to invite you to come and learn about the Starkey Hearing Foundation. Get involved. I mean, President Clinton talked about in no other time in human history have there been more people involved in giving back. You asked me about contribution, and I'll end with this. I have wonderful parents that taught me that it's not what you have, it's who you are. And a lot of that is measured by the way you love people, how much you can give, how much you can share of what you have, and sometimes what you don't. But we all have, regardless of our financial resources, we all have the love that we can share with people. You know, like our friend Kevin Hall, I remember your name. That's a great gift for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Eric, it's been an unbelievable weekend for me. You've
Yeah,
impacted my
good,
life,
good.
and I'm going to go back and share this with millions, and I
Yeah,
hope
we're
that you
gonna-
will as well.
All right, as we wrap it up, everybody here wants to become network marketing professionals. They
should.
They want to develop themselves to the highest level. Give them some closing comments on if they were coming to you, how do I become a network marketing professional? What should I do? Share with them whatever you would share with them.
Well, my best advice is what I'd tell my best friend. First of all, you want to surround yourself with the kind of people that the first and most important thing for them is integrity. I believe that this is an industry of influence, and I believe you only command influence through integrity. And that means that you find a company, a product line, a group of people that live the way that they say they live. They do what they say they will do. They're people like you, and like I hope that I will be remembered as. If there's one thing I want anyone to remember, ever know about me, and that I was a man of integrity. And if you can do that, if you can live that way, then you'll influence people. And that's the kind of group that you want to find. I know there'd probably be a lot of techniques that people might want to hear, but trust me, those are the things, that's the most important thing to me. Trust and integrity. And if you can find that and you can build that within yourself, then you'll be successful at anything you do. And I hope you will come along this journey. There's not a better lifestyle on the planet that I know of, but
Yeah, it's the best.
Anyway.
All right. Well, Kenton,
thank you.
I appreciate you so much, my friend. I hope you've enjoyed this interview. If you have, make sure you comment below. Let them know what you've received from this. But here from Minneapolis, Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional. You decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.